Big Ange, Tottenham out of the Carabao Cup, the English Football League Cup. At the first hurdle, very disappointing night for Tottenham fans indeed. Brilliant start to the Premier League season for them. There is no doubt about that whatsoever. However, huge wholesale changes today from Ange Postecoglou. For me, you can call it experimental, but I find it disrespectful for a club that is in desperate need of a trophy, a club that has this new beautiful stadium, has one of the most valuable squads in European football, has to always fight to win trophies. To make that many changes, to take out all of the stars, probably barring Mickey at the back, who have helped deliver a near impeccable start to the Premier League season, was far too much. Maybe it's because Daniel Levy is instructing him, listen, get into the Champions League at all costs. Don't worry about cup runs. I know that won't sit very, very well with Tottenham fans at all. Now, I don't expect any Spurs fan to be turning their back on Postecoglou at this moment in time. There's no, of course I wouldn't. That is not what I'm saying. But criticism where criticism is due. To play such, in my opinion, a weak team at this stage of the tournament was a big mistake from Postecoglou. And I know they've still got the FA Cup. But that is basically it, as far as I'm concerned, as a chance to win a trophy. They're not winning the Premier League. And the FA Cup, the bigger teams will take that even more seriously than they do the League Cup. And I think Tottenham will struggle. Just my personal opinion. I want to get your thoughts. In terms of the game, look, I'm looking at the team that started tonight. I thought, Richarlison scored, but overall, I thought his play was poor. I thought Perisic, I know he got the assist, but his play was poor. Davis and Sanchez, they were getting ripped apart, especially by Wilson when he came on the right-hand side of the pitch. And they had 2 or 3 golden opportunities to put the game to bed for them, and they couldn't do it. I felt the midfield of Højbjerg, I can't believe Man United were even looking at him, and Skip was lightweight. And in the first half especially, it was a very lackluster, poor quality performance from Tottenham Hotspur, in my opinion. And as I say, I think a lot of Spurs fans will be highly, highly disappointed with the overall performance. A lack of communication, poor positioning, no real organization amongst them. And I understand it's the second string. It's not that all of the first team players, but they're still training every day with Postecoglou. They're still in and around the rest of their teammates. It didn't look like the same Tottenham team at all. I want to understand what Spurs fans think. Straight away here, Cal says every single year they learn absolutely nothing. That's on Ange for sure, but these are the same players Conte, Nuno, and Jose had. Same even with Poch. Listen, some of these players are not good enough for Tottenham. I understand that. But, Jose's first season at Man United, he won 2 trophies. Ten Hag won trophies. You've got to play your strongest team. You've got to play, in my personal opinion for Tottenham, tonight especially, away at a Premier League club, you play your strongest 11, you get through this game, you win the match, you're in the next round, and then you move on to the weekend. A question, because I've forgotten this, my knowledge is being tested. Do Spurs have European football this season? Anybody in the comments can tell me, are they in the Conference League, Spurs? Or am I completely wrong? They're not, are they? Got no European football. I didn't think so. So it's one of the reasons why when teams are in the Europa League, they annoy me when they say it's too difficult. When you're in the Europa League, or if you can go on a good League Cup run, it's an opportunity to get your squad used to playing Champions League football by playing a strong team midweek and a strong team at weekends, which is what you have to do in the Champions League. If you don't do that, when you get into the Champions League, you struggle because your squad isn't used to playing 2 high-intensity games per week. So use this as an opportunity. If you're in the Europa League or Conference League, use it as an opportunity, because winning trophies is the pinnacle of football. So I get where you're coming from, Cal. I would be massively frustrated if I was a Spurs fan tonight. Tete went to get his best penalty boot. Tottenham in the mud. And that's the only time they scored. Jerome here says, again, we are on a rebuild. We still need to get rid of the dead wood. I'm not having much expectations this year. We are in transition. And listen, I understand that, bro, but I think your strongest 11, maybe with one or two changes. If you leave Basuma in the team, take out Sarr and maybe put in Højbjerg. If you leave Maddison on the pitch, Richarlison ahead of him, Perisic maybe comes in and you keep Kulusevski on the right as an example. I think you start your strongest centre-back pairing, your goalkeeper as well. And then maybe Royale comes in and Davis. I think you get away with that. 2 or 3 changes. But was it 8 or 9? Far too much, in my personal opinion, when Spurs, I know you're in transition, but their expectation should be to go and try and win a trophy. Whatever happens next, Chelsea's last summer signing is likely to be the story of the summer. There is a reason they have the keen to keep the business under the radar. Well, I think Chelsea's new owners leak far too much information about that. So, yeah, going to be very, very interesting indeed on that one. I know I'm going to reach out to Fraz. I know Fraz Fletcher. Tottenham crack merchants. I don't quite know what you mean by that, bro. I don't know what you mean by that. Tottenham are lucky not to get relegated. No, they're not going to get relegated. Let's not go over the top. Basuma should join Liverpool and be our DM. Yeah, he's very, very good. He's very, very good indeed. Let's go to some more of your comments here. Big up, Tell. Spuds out. Yep, they're gone. They're disappearing. But there we go. A lot of you say no, they weren't in European football. Ange Ball is what Star-Lord said. Look, I don't think there's a misconception that you can get crap players to play well. It's hard to do that. If it was the case, Klopp wouldn't have had to overhaul his squad. He'd have won the league title without doing it. So he has to bring in new players. He should not have made as many changes as he did tonight, in my personal opinion. Thoughts? Jason here says, hilarious. They aren't going to win shit. Done for another season. Paulinho was fire again as a gooner. A good night, even when we don't play. Do you know what's interesting? Again, Liverpool are looking at spending 70 million on Decore. Go get Paulinho. 80 million they want. That man is mustard. He's absolute mustard. Jerome says, Ange said he was going to give a chance to all the players. He has, and they have let him down. Yeah, listen, he'll have his reasons for doing it. And in fairness, I didn't see that before I said what I said. So Spurs fans will say, no, he said he was going to give people a chance. I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong. In a cup game against the level that you're playing tonight. Fulham are a good team. This wasn't an easy game for Tottenham. Let me just say that. If you were away or at home to Leyton Orient or Crewe Alexander or, I don't bloody know, Sunderland, then I would say fine. That's a Premier League outfit away from home. You've got to go with your strongest possible 11, in my personal opinion, Jerome. And you know me. You're one of the Spurs fans that knows I'm not a hater. I just say things as I see them, my mate. But look, a lot of them did let him down tonight. There's a lot of players out there. You could argue Richarlison kind of redeemed himself because he scored. But I did think it was another poor performance from him. And I know he got his goal. Maybe he'll kick on from there. But it's his touch. His touch is a pass. The amount of times he got the ball in good areas, he touched the ball and it went 3 or 4 yards away from him. So poor. Not even any guarantees will buy either. It gets more likely than not, but going into a full season with that as a backup. Yeah, as you say, you're going to get injuries because you're more likely to than not. If you guys did lose Basuma and Maddison for a period of time, you're really going to struggle depth-wise. And if you do let Højbjerg go as well, now I'm not a massive fan. If I come to my club, I don't want it. But yeah, you need to bring some more bodies in the next couple of days, in my personal opinion as well. Spurs fans were right. We've got our Spurs back. Big Ange imposter. Big Ange imposter. No clue. It's quite funny, to be fair. Didn't even have a trophy cabinet. Levy wouldn't pay or no stock in Argos. X is seething. I bet X is fuming. The one thing about expressions that I've always rated, barring him being the funniest football YouTuber in the world, or maybe the best, the one thing I've always rated is he's been one of the very few Spurs fans who I've met regularly through this journey on socials, not my community, I'm talking outside of it, who has been fuming and angry and desperate, and I will use that word desperate, for his football club to win a trophy. And that for me has always been a hugely significant component that's been missing from Tottenham as a football club. I get your point, Tel. You know I am dying for a trophy, but I have to back the manager and not ready to throw the prams out like the fan base is doing. Oh, I hear you. And I don't think you turn on Postecoglou after this result. I think you can criticize. I think you can say the one thing you don't want to do. I remember Poch doing this and it drove me nuts when he said, we don't want the little trophies. We want the big ones. I don't think Spurs can afford to be suckered into that. Listen, I was about to bring a man on. I completely get that. I want to say this in the right way. I completely and utterly get that. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there as I was trying to get a link to send through to somebody. I completely and utterly get that you're in a situation where you may want to back your manager. We all, by the way, want Champions League more than we want League Cups. We all want Premier League more than we want FA Cups. But it doesn't mean I don't want those on the way to it. And if you're a team that doesn't win anything, you can't have that attitude. Yeah, sorry there. I lost my train of thought as I send the link out to some of the guys out there. We did have Harry backstage, but he disappeared. I was about to bring him on to have his say. I think like young Dan's going to be on his way soon to have a little chat with us as well. PSG reporter says here, talks are ongoing between PSG and a younger... okay, interesting indeed. Let's have a little look here at a few more of these comments that are coming through. Can you speak on the confirmed signing of Crocodile Dundee to replace Kane? Come on now, mate. X had me in stitches in the stream. I love it. Yeah, I bet he was fuming. With it. Again, every Spurs fan to a degree should be angry. Angry though doesn't mean turning on your manager. Not a dig. Sanchez out, even though he was terrible. He was in the squad when we lost to Colchester under Poch in 2019. Tells you everything. I hear you. Emmanuel says Poch said it in a press conference today that he got misinterpreted and that wasn't what he meant. Fair enough. If that's not what he meant, that's not what he meant. But it's what he said. It's what he said, and that's what we thought at the time. If you're not winning, you can't be saying things like that. But fair enough. If he was misinterpreted, then I don't so much stand corrected because that's what I heard him say. But I'm willing to, because I'm that kind of man, to put my hands up and go, okay, maybe he was misinterpreted, or maybe not misinterpreted, but he said it wrong. Because if he said it wrong, it's not down to me to interpret it right. But yeah, I'll take a little listen to that so I can educate myself on it further. Bear with me a second. I'm just trying to add an overlay because I didn't put one so I can take calls here. Dan and I want to say his name's Harry. It is Harry. Are coming on now to have their say with us on the show. Welcome back, boys. Commiserations on going out. Dan, talk to me, mate. Talk to me. You told me you were boiling.
Freaking seething, man. It's every year the same. It's always the same lot of idiots that cost us. I want to know. I don't actually think it's Ange Postecoglou, because if it was, I'd be very disappointed. But who made the decision to have one of the players with the worst confidence in Europe take a penalty? Who had that decision? Davinson Sanchez, his confidence is horrendous. One of the things that you need the most confidence in football is to take a penalty. Why is he taking a penalty? Same thing. The first goal, Davinson Sanchez. The defending was horrible. Horrible. And again, we take these cups lightly. We won the first few games. We got very confident and we started thinking that we could play our B team. One of the reasons we were so good in the first 3 games of the Premier League season was because of our midfield, which was Bissouma, Maddison, and Papa Matasar. None of those start today, and you can see how our midfield looks. I got clipped a lot for saying that our midfield is the best in England, excluding Manchester City's. I still stick by that. This had nothing to do with today because none of those players started today. None of them. Our midfield was horrendous today. I don't know who made that decision to start. I back Ange Postecoglou still, and every Tottenham fan should. Nobody should be saying Ange Postecoglou out today. But managers can make mistakes. Today, Ange Postecoglou made a mistake.
Yeah, I hear you. Harry, do you agree with what Dan has said there? You're on. I can't hear you, bro.
Your volume is very low.
Come. No, I can't. Keep speaking. No. It's very low. Come out and come back in, man, and chat to us. See if that works. Listen, I totally get where you're coming from, Dan. I do. I think that I get the disappointment. Again, Davinson Sanchez taking a penalty as soon as he stepped up. Like he's missing. 100% knew that he was about to miss, and part of that is on the manager. And I'm not suggesting you turn on your manager right now. Were you disappointed with the amount of players he rotated? Would you have liked to have seen a stronger team away at Fulham in the cup?
I was surprised generally, but I was expecting a few substitutions, and I honestly don't think we looked that bad on the ball. I think defensively was when I was very worried, and we're making very dumb errors defensively, and Davinson Sanchez was mainly the culprit of that most of the times. I don't want to be like singling out one player in Davinson Sanchez, but today's result, I genuinely think that if Romero was starting that game, we do not lose. Because that first goal, that defending from him was absolutely horrendous. Like, seriously, I don't understand what he was doing. Every time I see Davinson Sanchez play football, it looks like he's wearing roller skates. He doesn't have balance. I don't know how a footballer can be so unbalanced. But listen, I guess today in a cup game, it's understandable in the first cup game to rotate players, obviously. But the amount that we rotated, I think, was very poor. We shouldn't have rotated how many. Like, Forster should have definitely not started. Especially when it came to penalties. Maybe around like halftime, you bring on Vicario, because penalties Forster like was horrendous. Every penalty, like from the first penalty that he made that error, like from falling down to the floor, I knew the rest of them he wasn't going to save one.
Yeah.
So we definitely should have had a lot more starters on. But still, we brought on a lot of the starters, and it didn't really make too much of a difference. We started attacking more, but by the time they came on, we were already starting to attack a little bit more. So definitely there should have been a few more starters on the pitch, but there should also be rotation in the first game of a cup.
Yeah, I hear Jerome's joined us now as well. Do you agree with Dan? A little bit disappointed with the amount of rotation, but you understand why it happened?
Yeah, look, I am disappointed that we are out again on the cup. I understand, but the thing is, I understand the change. Ange said, but he wanted the change. He wanted to give a chance to all of those players. Thing is, again, same crap players let him down. What are we supposed to do? We still got the same nonsense players, but we have Davies, Sanchez, and all of those crappy players. It's just ridiculous. But I'm not going to say the fan base is currently turning on Ange like crazy. It's like, oh, wrong decision, wrong this, wrong that, wrong this. What is he meant to do? He's giving a chance to all of his players. Prove him wrong. Why we should be part of his team. Now he knows. Now he knows why we shouldn't be. I guess that's the reason why he said, let's see what you can do, and if you can be part of my team. He knows now that those guys cannot deserve to be part of his team. Davies, Sanchez, out. Højbjerg, if Manchester United want him, take him. Can't handle him anymore. Skip, get out. It's like all of those players need to go.
I hear you on that. Yeah. Can we hear you now, Harry?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you now. Perfect.
Cool,
perfect.
It's all sorted. Mate, can I just say right now, Sanchez is a fucking donkey. As soon as I saw him take that penalty, I was fucking done with it. You know, you got the Amazon Prime fucking... Bro, I was pressing the home screen as soon as he was pressing it, bro. I swear to God, he's useless. Why was he even taking a penalty? The guy should be discarded from the team. Why is he there?
Mate, he's the regression in him has been crazy, but why did your manager pick him, do you think?
I don't understand. Like, they're sat there. They've got the 5 penalty takers. Cool. Why are they picking him? Even when Maddison was taking the penalty, I was a little bit sketchy because obviously I said in the last one about Maddison not taking penalties. We know his history with Leicester. A lot of people blamed Maddison for the reason for Leicester getting relegated because of him missing so many penalties. Cool. But Maddison scored it. Why is Davinson Sanchez even in the team now? Why is he not somewhere in Brazil, Colombia? Why is he not like in the favelas or something? Do you know what I mean? Like, why is he still here? He's useless.
I can answer you that question.
How many people are there?
I can answer you that question.
Please.
Today, we rejected an. You know the timing of things when you're Tottenham Hotspur football fan, the timing of things is just peach. You know, it's just peach. Today, hours before the game, we rejected a bid for Davinson Sanchez of 9 million. 9 million. I would pay 9 million for you to take Davinson Sanchez.
I'd give you £10 to get him gone, bro.
I will pay the cab for you to leave Tottenham Hotspur Football Club.
Oh,
you know the thing is, he was so poor last season. Every Tottenham fan wanted him out. There was a little bit of hype in the summer. Then there was a clip of Davinson Sanchez going to a museum, I think it was, and he put a Tottenham kit on top of an Arsenal kit.
No.
All of Tottenham Twitter Keep Davinson Sanchez. He loves the club. He's a legend for Tottenham now. Put a statue outside the stadium.
Bro, he's useless. He's a donkey.
We've
He's
got
a
the memory of a
donkey.
goldfish. Us Tottenham fans
He's a
have the memory of a
donkey.
goldfish. We literally get gratified from the smallest things. Putting a Tottenham shirt over an Arsenal poster and people saying to keep him
He's a
because he loves the
donkey.
football club.
He's a donkey. It's simple. He's a donkey. It's done. It's done.
Jacob, your thoughts on the Sanchez situation? Do you sympathise with Postecoglou having to play him, or do you agree that he should just be kept away from this team?
When you look at the number of center backs that we have, and hello everybody, it sounds like everybody's pretty upset about that, and I understand, I get it, I understand the sympathy. But when you look at it, Ange Postecoglou is simply just trying to get a look at these guys. He's trying to see who can I count on. He's still feeling out his team. When you look at how much time he had in the preseason, wasn't that many training sessions before he was having to throw players out there for West Ham. Made changes at that point, and I'm saying that. In all the matches that Ange Postecoglou has managed, all he's trying to do is see who's the best and who can supplement in any kind of role. I think to simply blame Davinson Sanchez is the easy route. It was obvious that he was out of his depths. He got turned around on that first goal. Absolutely agree with that. But to a degree, I also blame a lot of the players around him as well. I blame Emerson Royale. I blame every single person on that pitch, to be quite frank. I even blame Fraser Forster as much as I don't want to blame a goalkeeper. I even got to blame him as well. That penalty shootout, you may as well have stuck someone's grandfather out there because he was going to move just as much as that. In the same direction every single time, just absolutely astonishing. But outside of that, every player was atrocious today. I think to blame one player is just, it seems a little bit of the easy route in my opinion.
Jacob, but you know what it is? It's when you've got one bad player, everybody around them becomes worse. It's like it's a virus that spreads throughout the team. So if you have Davinson Sanchez there, of course it's going to give a little bit less confidence to Emerson Royale because he knows he can't trust in a centre back next to him. Mickey van der Ven, every time he had the ball, usually he's comfortable with playing with Romero. Davinson Sanchez was next to him. He looked like he was having a cardiac arrest every time he touched the football. Like one of those bad players in the team spreads throughout the whole team. You saw how good we looked with Romero in that back four with Romero and Mickey van der Ven. When you put a player like Eric Dyer, Davinson Sanchez in there, the player next to him looks worse. That's why so many people were actually questioning Romero last season because he wasn't looking great. Now he has good Mickey van der Ven. Look how good he looks. When you have a player that's terrible next to you, it spreads.
I mean, I would also look at a lot of the players that were started in the first place. Giovanni Lo Celso, a lot of people have argued this guy. I even saw a tweet from, I think, Fabrizio Romano talking about we like Giovanni Lo Celso in his role. Why was he the first substitute off if that's the case? If these things are true, what we're hearing, I look at the whole 11 as a whole. Every single person on there, I feel like have something to prove to the manager still, and that's why they were played. Regardless of how we feel about the 11, that's what I think it is. And Ange Postecoglou is still getting his feet wet with this team and these players, if you think about it. In the grand scheme of things, it's been, less than 10 matches managed in total? So I'm not too concerned. I think I understand the emotions are riding high after a match and we lost, etc. The penalty, the orders of the penalty, I would definitely bring into question. Why was Davinson Sanchez third? Why was James Maddison fourth? These are the things I would question before I, question why was Davinson Sanchez starting. That's a clear answer why Davinson, Gio, etc. and the likes were starting today. Even Richarlison, he still has something to prove. Happy he got the goal, but outside of the goal, I don't thought he offered much at all.
I hear
Look,
that.
It was just penalties, okay? We lost on penalties. It's 50-50. So even though it looks bad, we are out of the cup already, it was just penalties. It's 50-50. I understand Davinson Sanchez should not have taken the penalty, but even that, who would say we are confident to win on penalties? Nobody can. Nobody can say we will be confident to win on penalties. So it's 50-50. So we have to understand.
We don't even know who our penalty taker is at this juncture in the season either. So I'm not too upset.
I can guarantee you before I saw him even pick up the ball to put it on the penalty spot, I can guarantee you that he was missing it because his confidence is an all-time low. Currently, our janitor has more confidence than Davinson Sanchez. His confidence is on the floor. Why would he take the penalty, especially after such a poor performance? If he would have had a blinder, he played super well, he defended very well, maybe even got like a goal or something. Let him take a penalty. His confidence is riding high. That's what penalties really rides on, if anything, is confidence. And he did not have
I hear you there. I'm going to go to Pav in a minute as a rival. I want to go through some of these super chats. True Blue says, "Anne's imposter, no clue, dropped a boo-boo. Crikey, mate."
Of course, rivals are taking it.
Uh,
Yeah, eat it
try
up.
it.
Enjoy. It's not gonna happen
Amsterdam
to you.
Right.
midfield is the best after City's. Hype Ed is what a piece of all says. X was doing a Terry Flewis today on the stream. I don't know what that means. Getting mental, maybe. I did lose it today with Lee Gunner. Dan, you're too young to waste your life on spuds. No one will judge you
I'm
if you
not
swap teams at
changing
such a tender
football
age.
clubs.
How old are you, Dan?
I'm-
Dan, how old are you?
15, but I'm not changing
15,
football
bro.
clubs. It doesn't matter.
The best
Like,
15 years of your life so far, bro. I promise you.
you could spend 300 super chats telling me to switch football clubs. I won't switch football clubs. Okay, I'm Tottenham. That's it.
Colton here says you can now focus on the league. Hashtag Arsenal logic. Bigger fish to fry. Kenny here says instead of bringing in the better players when it was going wrong, why not start with them? Maddison, Sarr, Kulu, and Romero should have started. I agree with you, Kenny. I do. And he also said 1 game a week, yet you are rotating for what? I hear you, especially away against a good Premier League team. Pav's a rival, though. What you saying, mate?
I've jumped on because I'm hearing a lot of chat here, not blaming someone who should be blamed. What is it with football fans and not blaming the manager for the reason why they're losing games the way they are? You're turning into Liverpool. It's like Terry calls them communism, Merseyside. You're literally becoming them.
It's
You
one
Arsenal
loss.
fans,
It's been 4 games.
bro.
It's
You're
one
saying
loss. The
who
first
gave
loss.
who? You're
It's not
saying
even a loss. It's a
who
draw.
hold on. Let me talk.
It's a loss. It's a loss. Come on.
I'll take it as an L.
Let me-
I'll take it as an L, but it's the first one. Let's be real. Let's be honest.
Speaking it.
Sorry.
Let
Sorry.
him
Let him talk. Let him talk.
Okay,
Let's
yeah,
see what he
let
has
him
to say.
talk.
I've
boys,
heard,
come on,
I've
boys.
heard Dan say who gave David Sanchez, is that his name? The penalty.
Davinson Sanchez,
Your manager gives the permission. He's the one who makes the decisions. What, you think the players are just going up by themselves? They've clearly worked out a plan. Who's taking them? You have to blame your manager for this. You've had managers come in before, throw cups away, and you've got another manager who's come from Australia, managing teams like Zebra and Hippo United to Celtic, now to you. Yeah, and Celtic. Let's not like big Celtic up. They're a crap team. That's why they literally like
Bro, you're going down
don't
this
do anything
season.
other than win their
offense.
league.
No
Won on the
offense, you're
treble
going
this
down
season.
this season. I promise you, you're going down this
Who
season.
does he
No
support?
offense.
Who does he support?
He's a Fulham fan, I think.
No, Pav's
I'm a
Man
Fulham
United
fan.
fan.
Man
support
United.
I'm not a Fulham fan, mate.
Why is-
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, that makes sense. I was wondering
Bro,
why
you've
so
all
against
come on it.
Ange.
You've been
I
happy
forgot
for the
that you lot
past
got
3
cooked by
weeks.
Ange Postecoglou
You've
like
been
a few
happy
weeks
for the
ago.
past 3 weeks, and now you've taken a loss, but you don't want to blame your manager for it. Why is that? The game
Because
today
we've had 5
is
managers
on
in the
your
last 5
manager.
years.
Your manager decided to rest players. When you're not in Europe, you're playing 1 game a week. Why has your manager rested some important players? You're only playing Burnley on the weekend. Is your manager that scared of Burnley that he had to rest his best players? It's not like that
Brother,
the
can I ask you
Latino
a question?
pigeon scored today.
Can I ask you a question? Bro, can
You
I ask you a
Why
question?
is your manager resting your good
Can I ask you a
players?
question? Can I ask you a
Guys, let
question,
Harry,
bro?
go on, Harry. Ask a question.
Right. One thing. You say this about our manager, this and that, but are you going to give props to our manager when we beat you 2-0?
Bro, I turned on my manager when we lost to you. I said my manager was crap. His tactics were crap. His transfers were crap.
No, but you can
I
rate
say it
our
as it
manager
is.
for what we did, though.
You see,
Mate,
this
I
is the
didn't come on
problem.
the terrace the day that you won, but
Why
you
didn't
beat
you?
us fair and square. I'm not gonna sit here and call him crap. You beat us fair and square, but today
Yeah,
you
yeah.
lost, and the blame is on your manager. He made a decision to keep your best players on the bench, and then when you're drawing 1-1, he decided to bring them on, and he still lost on pens. And here it was his decision to put certain people on pens to blame your manager. You don't take cups seriously, and you never will. It's a simple fact.
That's
That seems
complete
very-
nonsense.
Let
You
me
just
explain
said
what
you
we've done,
just talked about we don't take cups seriously.
You don't take
We-
cups seriously.
You are talking absolute crap right now. The
Yeah.
guy
Don't
took the
take
cup
cups
seriously.
What's going
He
on
took
here?
the
Are
cup
you people
very
deluded?
seriously.
What are you
You
smoking?
are talking
Bro, my man,
absolute
where
crap
in Manchester
because
are
he
you from, my bro?
took
Where in Manchester
your-
are you from?
I don't live in Manchester, bro. I live in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, I can tell, bro. You should support Milton Keynes then, no?
Bro,
Hang on
I'll
a minute.
support who I want.
Right,
You got Americans
I'm
in the
from Miami and I
chat.
support
Tell them to
Tottenham.
go
Hey,
support.
let's not
Tell
prove
them to
crochet
support
that
DC
people.
United.
Pav. Yeah, I was about to say, Harry, we've got the other 3 Spurs fans on here with you, are not even from England.
I'm from
I hear
Miami.
that. I hear that.
Yeah.
All right, mate, oi, boys,
I'm
maybe
gonna
I'm
start
getting a
supporting
little
Inter
riled
Miami
up.
then.
I'm getting a
I'm
real
gonna start
Let's
supporting
not
Inter Miami
crochet
then.
that
Get
people
riled up,
and
my
what
boys.
team we are supposed to support. Let's not do that. But what I'm saying is,
Ryan, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you say Spurs take cup seriously, please elaborate on that for me, mate.
look, what I'm saying is, Ange took that game seriously. Okay, it's not because we made like so many changes, but those guys, it's not like we just put a team of young players. They are all experienced players that was playing there. Okay, we did not put youngsters. We did not put like any like young team from kids from our academy, but we put experienced players in there. He wanted to win that game. We took it seriously. Okay, let's not go and say we did not take that game seriously because we made all of those changes. The game was taken seriously. All right, that crap notion of telling we don't take games seriously is nonsense.
So why was Colin Madison on the bench? Why was Kulu on the bench? Why was your talented players on the bench? If you take it seriously, why were they staying for Burnley?
You have a game. You telling
why,
me you
why
have
did you save your best players for a team who haven't won a game in the Premier League?
You have a game midweek and you have another game on the weekend. You're not going to rotate. What complete crap are you talking about? Huh? Seriously. You're telling me
I've seen teams play the UCL Europa League and still play the same squad on the weekend. What are you talking about?
If Manchester United were playing midweek and they have an important game for the league during the weekend,
Terry,
you're telling me
tell me if I'm wrong.
If you tell me
rotate his team when we play the Championship, a Level 1 League 1 team in the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup?
Right, but we'll say this about Man United last year. We played our strongest team in most Carabao Cup games. Especially with the ones against the tougher teams, the better Championship teams, if we were away from home. Like when we played Nottingham Forest, who I would say are probably not as good as Fulham away from home.
We played our strong team against Reading.
Can I explain why the manager's not to blame? Instead of just...
Yeah, go on. Why is the manager not to blame? Why is he not to blame at all?
I've said in the beginning that he did make some small mistakes. But the overall picture is why you shouldn't just go out and say Ange Postecoglou out, is because we've had 6 managers. I don't know the exact number. But in the last, we haven't had one manager stay for an entire season. Each of those managers would go out of cups for the same culprits. Ange Postecoglou, this is his 4th game for Tottenham Hotspur. The first 3 games we looked unreal with our starting team. Today he wanted to see how the bench players were looking. Arguably this was not the right game to do that. I can accept that, but to say that Ange Postecoglou needs to leave Tottenham, if any Danny,
I'm going to stop you. Criticizing your manager doesn't mean asking for him to be sacked. All Pav has said. No, Pav said you should blame your manager for the loss. He didn't say ask him to be sacked. He just said in isolation for today's game, it's on your manager. He made too much rotation, and putting Sanchez in the penalty kicks. Those 2 actions ultimately cost you. You
could have started off with some of your better players and then taken them off if you went ahead 2 or 3 goals.
No one does that.
He made the mistake of letting that happen.
No one does that.
I think he did make a mistake, but to say he's for blame, I don't think he's to blame.
Of course he is. Who else are you going to blame? He's the manager. Who else are you going to blame? Levy? Did Levy tell him not to play them?
The players. The players that have let down countless managers in the last 5 years. Every manager has been let down. And of course, as Tottenham fans, we're going to blame it all on the manager again. Conte out, Ange Postecoglou out, Nuno out, Jose Mourinho out.
No one's calling for your manager out. Who's calling for your manager out? We're just criticizing your manager.
I'm not saying that you're calling for. I'm not saying that you're calling for our manager out. I'm saying that all those.
But who is? Name the people. You're saying people are calling them out. Name them.
Bro, we was blaming Davinson Sanchez for missing a penalty and his confidence not before, and that's facts, no? Was we not doing that? Was blaming Fraser Forster, of course.
Harry, let me ask you a question then. You're blaming Sanchez, fine. What Pav is saying, I just want to explain this, is if his confidence is bad and he shouldn't be playing, but your manager picks him and lets him take a penalty, do you not put any of the blame on your manager?
Partially.
Sanchez is a senior player.
You can blame him for getting the answer to the question wrong, but you can't blame him for the fact he didn't have the tools to know what the correct answer to be. When you look at what he has, to choose from, he's trying to find out who can I trust, who can offer me some value. The same was
He already
tested of Van
knows
de
it
Ven.
through
The same was tested of
pre-season.
Richarlison.
He knows this from pre-season. That's why
You
certain
think
players weren't
preseason is
playing in the
enough time?
Premier League.
He had 5
So
training
he
sessions
made a
before they
decision to
flew to
put in
South
players
Asia.
who don't
He
who
had
aren't
5 training sessions before they flew to South
Mate,
Asia.
you man are waffling so much, man. I've never heard so many excuses,
You're
bro.
telling me the preseason is supposed to answer some kind of question, and that's just not factual.
I want to hear from Alan here. You've kind of come in a bit of an argument. Pav, who's a United fan, has come on and said Spurs fans should be blaming Postecoglou tonight for the rotation, for the penalty takers. What's your take on this? Would you put any... The boys are saying that the manager isn't to blame at all. He didn't have the tools tonight to win.
No, Pav's absolutely right. This is on Ange. Look, we're going to praise him when he does well, but you need to be able to criticise when he does it incorrectly. Some of the excuse I hear that it's Daniel Levy, telling him not to. I don't go with all that. That's just literally... I heard it correctly. It's a coping mechanism to go, everything's going to be all right. At the end of the day, not only have we changed 9 players to a lot of deadwood that people are saying, we shouldn't do, but let's just say things are going wrong. We're 1-0 down at half time. If things were going to be changed, how on earth are we going to go, okay, we're going to turn this around, we're going to take it seriously, and you put Scarlett on for Lo Celso, when Maddison, Basuma, Sarr, all these people should have been the first ones to come on. How on earth are we sitting here as a fan base and saying, you can't blame the manager? No. You can blame the manager without going, I'm Ange out or anything like that, because that's ridiculous. But he picked the team. He made the changes. He made the changes late. He brought the wrong people on at the wrong times. Ange is to blame for the starting lineup. He is to blame for the incorrect decisions made as well. You can blame him with, and this is what I see Spurs fan base going, you can't. Because I'm blaming doesn't mean I want him out. But like I said, this season, for me, it's going to take a long time to understand exactly what Ange Ball is and how far we can go as a team or what we can do, how we're going to play under him. But when he gets things wrong, we can criticise. Same with players who come in, who are new to this team. You give them the time to blend the team. But when they make catastrophic errors, you blame him for them errors. And Terry says this all the time, and I agree with him. Football's so polarised now that as soon as you say one bad thing about somebody, people think you've got an agenda against them, this, that, and the other. No. Ange has done good with Spurs and how he's got us playing so quick, so well, with a lot of people that we couldn't. We were waxing lyrical that these players were playing well in pre-season. We get to a cup game where these players come on and play absolutely awful, and all of a sudden, it's the players and not Ange. We've got to be consistent. You can't keep flip-flopping about on what we choose to blame, who we choose to blame. At the end of the day, Ange got it wrong today. And then
For the record,
by the wrong subs at the wrong time. It's that simple, guys.
Look, you got a new manager, right? As a new manager, you need to make a statement from what's been happening in the past when you're trying to compete for cups. You don't come in and put in a rotated squad that you've literally played for 3 weeks. You've got Burnley on the weekend who haven't won a game, right? They've been playing crap. Why? You didn't need to rotate. Your manager should have been making a statement tonight.
oh, they're the same first team. They played 72 hours ago.
He should have rotated, just not as much.
Guys, look, you can risk 1 or 2. Maybe
Man City went to a Super Cup, right, and came back and still battered Newcastle.
And the
But
worst
that's
thing
Man
is,
City. They have.
That's Man City. They got Arab money,
Bro,
guys.
you've got players. You've got
They've got
players.
Arab money.
Your players have played 3 games. You could have played today. They could have played. There's no excuse.
United,
You're all waffling. I don't get why you don't want to blame your manager.
There should
what
have
is
been
this?
rotation. I'm saying
Tell
that
me
the
there's
manager
some
didn't make
Spurs
the mistake,
now.
but the result is not down to
Guys,
him.
Guys, we're 3 games into the season. This is a cup game, and Spurs need to take cups thingy. Pav, the only thing you were wrong in saying is that we've never taken cups seriously. Spurs, if you go back through time, have taken cups seriously. We were known for long periods of time as a cup team because we always won trophies like FA Cups and stuff like that. So we have, but for so long now, we've neglected. It's no coincidence that the last 3 or 4 years, you've seen us go out to no disrespect, but lower cup teams in the cup, playing our deadwood. So Ange comes in and plays our deadwood in the cup game where we lose again. Make it make sense. Also, we don't have European football. We haven't got to go travelling all across Europe and get miles in here, there and everywhere and come back. We've got the league and we've got the cups. Now, with that 1 game down, suppose we get knocked out the FA Cup at the first round of asking as well, like we have all kind of been close to doing in recent years. We then play a 40-game season, and then what excuses have we got? It makes no sense. Guys, Ange got it wrong. He's going to make mistakes, but we need to call him out on it. If we sit here and go, he does no wrong, then when he does wrong, people will be like, "Oh, I can't say anything." Because
I want to say for the record, I've never once said that Ange can't have some of the blame. You can blame him, but this is a pie that must be shared by everybody. Yes, it is an L, and Ange has to take it, and he should be due his fair criticism. But my point being is, it's the first loss. The first loss that mattered anything that we've seen under Ange Postecoglou. And to see, I've already seen some fan channels, it's like, we can calm down. We could be all right. This is a loss that Ange now has learned a lot more about these players.
Yeah,
and it's just a matter of time until we can actually get them gone.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I think that, again, it's not throwing baby out with the bathwater time, but Spurs will get stick because this is what happens. You guys have been at the beginning for a few weeks when you've been winning. You know, he hasn't quite said the same thing as last year, but Jules was on the show basically saying they're going to have a better season than Man United again. First opportunity at silverware, you go out. Sometimes it's those pesky football gods. Sometimes keep that powder firmly dry. If Arsenal one sec, boys. One of these super chats here says if Arsenal get a draw against Fulham last week, why will Tottenham rest most of their first 11? Fulham is an EPL team. #bottle team. This here says haven't won a major trophy in a while. Should have taken all competitions seriously at this point. Big Ange playing them was wrong. It's him picking a team, is what Eduardo says. Colton says just like the team Arsenal put out versus Fulham. The 11 out there should have won. Manager to blame, though. If Sanchez hit the pen, it'd be a confidence up. I suppose so. If he scores a penalty, it might help him, and you want to make players play better, but Sanchez should be sold from your club. The fact you've turned down £9 million, crazy. Sorry, Jerome, you were saying something, mate.
Yeah. So what you were saying before, like George and all those, look, man, I just don't like the way whenever he talks or whatever, whenever he says something, it's like the overconfidence of us winning 3 games. It's just ridiculous. I told you previously, I'm not getting gas about anything this season. We are in transition. Okay. He needs to understand his team. He needs to understand his best 11. I think he knows who his best 11 already is. But he needs to understand if he can count on the other players suddenly if you have a whole lot of injuries. So, for example, today was the best example for him to test out and see if he can depend on all of those players. If you suddenly had like Madders, Bissouma, Sarr, and all of us suddenly get injured in that game, what do we do? What do we do? Are you telling me you are going to be confident with Højbjerg and Skip in the midfield? There was no playmakers today. We had 0 playmakers. And you can see how bad the game without 0 playmakers. You can see it.
Yeah.
So now telling me if those players get injured, what are we going to do?
So you're going to stop competing just in case a player gets injured now? Is that what it's come to?
Yeah.
I never said we're not competing. I said if they get injured, what are we going to do moving forward in the league?
You can't go into a cup game thinking if a player gets injured, like we shouldn't play them. You have to go in, especially with a team like Fulham.
Hours ago. It had been 72 hours since they last played.
It's 3 games in. Why are you man talking like you just played half a season?
Look, I'm just going to say this in regards to we're arguing a hypothetical why we didn't play in the cup game, but we've been playing them in the league. What if they get injured in the league? We're still going to be in the same situation. It just seems like we're trying to find an excuse to fit the thing. Look, me saying Ange got it wrong tonight, it's not me, Ange, out in for that. I think what he's done to this Spurs team in the short period of time is great. But you need to be able to criticise. We know, we sit here all the time, Spurs fans, and all on our channels and all that, I do it included, where we criticise the players in the Deadwood. We've known this for years. We've said about it for years. Each manager that comes in knows. Ange knows who are not good enough for this club because he doesn't play them. He leaves them out of the squad and or he gives them scraps like that. But he didn't have to make 9 changes today. He really didn't. He could have made 3, 4 changes, and that would have been good enough. You're telling me...
I would argue the opposite, Alan.
You're telling me Vicario is knackered and can't play this game. When you've got that tree in goal, he sits down in the middle of penalties. No, I'm
boys.
sorry.
Look, listen, it's been a great debate. I was only going to do a quick 10-minute stream after the game for an early Carabao Cup exit, but I appreciate you all coming on. I want to thank our viewers. We've got some recorded content for you tomorrow that will come out, but I'm not live streaming tomorrow. It's my daughter's, Lady Freya's 5th birthday, so family day out, going to the zoo. Not really, because Jackson's coming, and he's a nightmare. So I'd rather be streaming. No, I'm joking. But there will be some content tomorrow, so make sure you're all tuning in for it. Please hit the like button before you leave. Jacob, Ari, Dan, Jerome, Pav, and Alan, I appreciate you all coming on. There was a lot more people backstage as well. Sorry I can't get you all on tonight. Until next time, people, take care. Goodbye. God bless.